Hello and welcome to Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County's Quapcast. I'm Samantha Ambrosini, your Season 3 host. Welcome to the very first episode of this season. I'm joined today by a very interesting guest here to tell us all about SNAP-Ed. Can you please introduce yourself for us?
My name is Katie Sheehan Lopez, and I'm the SNAP-Ed nutrition educator for Cornell Cooperative Extension of Ulster County.
Great. It's great to have you here for an interview. Could you just tell me a little bit about SNAP-Ed?
So SNAP-Ed is related to SNAP, which for anyone who's not familiar, SNAP is the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And that's more commonly known as food stamps, but SNAP is the official name for it. So SNAP is money to low-income households to purchase groceries. And SNAP-Ed comes from the same funding, and it exists all over the United States and all over New York State. And it's money to do the education component and to teach low-income individuals and families about healthy eating and physical activity. So what we're really trying to do is get out there in the community and help people use their SNAP dollars very efficiently, to use them to purchase healthy food and to make them stretch longer. Because as we know, the SNAP benefits often do not last through the full month. So towards the end of the month, people are kind of running out of money in their food budget, and we want to help people stretch it just a little bit longer. So the ultimate goal of SNAP-Ed is to reduce obesity. So it is an obesity prevention program. And the reason for that is because of the health effects of obesity. Often we see things like high blood pressure, diabetes. All these things are associated with obesity and dietary choices. So they're all kind of tied up together, and we're trying to reduce the effects of them for individuals and children and families.
Just a little question follow-up to that. I actually didn't know that the benefits don't last the whole month. Is it you get a certain amount each month and then it just, you have to use it by the end?
Well, I'm pretty sure that benefits will roll over. So if you, for some reason, don't use all your benefits, they'll add on to the next month. But the way it works is you will, when you apply, you'll get a certain amount. There's a maximum amount of SNAP benefits, but often, I think it's only half of people get the maximum. Everyone else is getting something less than the maximum. Anywhere from, I think the smallest amount is around $16 or $20 a month, up to a couple hundred or more, depending on your family size. And it's called the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. So, it may not be intended to cover the whole month. But yeah, so it doesn't always get families through the whole month, which is really tricky because, when you're on a fixed income and you're, making minimum wage maybe, or not working a full 40 hours a week, it's really hard to find extra money at the end of the month. And we do often see at food pantries, the lines tend to be longer at the end of the month for just this reason. So we try to help families, stretch it as far as they can by making, using their dollars to purchase low cost items that are still healthy, of course. I often have heard people say that, well, I'm only going to get $16 or $20 a month, so it's really not worth it for me to go and, do the application. But I would say it is worth it because it's still $16 or $20 in your pocket. If you found a $20 bill on the floor, even if you had to go fill out a form to get it, you'd probably still pick it up. It also, when you're in receipt of SNAP benefits, it also makes you eligible for other things like heating assistance or free school meals without having to do another application process. So it usually is worth it, even if you're only going to get a relatively small amount. I would say still go through that process of doing the application.
So you guys do nutrition education. Who is that for?
The education is for anyone that's eligible for or receiving SNAP. So even if you're that person who didn't want to go through the process, but you are still low income, you would be eligible to get nutrition education or to participate in a workshop. And it's really for anyone age 6 and up. So we don't do preschool, but we do classrooms, we do, community centers, we'll do senior centers. So really it could be anyone that's, qualifies as low income. And right now we're doing all virtual workshops, of course, but most of the time we are out in the community. We go into schools, we go to after school programs, we go to different community sites. So that might be a food pantry, it might be a library, it might be residents, anywhere that we can find a group that will be interested in gathering. So, and I work all over Ulster County, but I also do Columbia and Greene counties as well. So I have a pretty big area to cover, and it's different every time. So if you are a person that's maybe not in one of those 3 counties I just mentioned, but you do live in New York State, this SNAP-Ed does exist all over New York State, and it's usually through the cooperative extension offices. So if you live in Dutchess County or, farther out, maybe you're out in Western New York, there's a SNAP-Ed educator that's doing similar work everywhere in New York State.
So could you give me an idea of what one of your workshops might look like?
Yeah, so usually when we're in person, for example, an adult workshop, we'd have a group, we kind of all sit around a table, and we talk about really basic nutrition topics. So I talk about My Plate. We talk about the nutrition facts label, sugary drinks, how to get kids involved with cooking. We talk about shopping on a budget, and I try to make there's always some activity to do. So I don't want people to sit and listen to me talk, but we try to do activities to kind of work through some of these topics together. And almost always in person, I do a cooking demonstration so that you can not only learn about the nutrition concept, but you get to, it's not useful if you can't eat healthy food. So I do a recipe and everyone will get a little taste and, walk home with some handouts and a recipe. Unfortunately, now we don't have that ability, but usually I try to get people a little taste of something. We also usually incorporate some kind of physical activity into a workshop. It might not be anything really big. It might just be stand up for 2 minutes and we'll all do a stretch together, but we like to live that. So we're not just going to tell people to do physical activity, but we're going to kind of work it into the workshop too. So they're usually really engaging and fun. And we try to make that happen as much as we can in a virtual platform. We also, when we work with youth, it's usually even more activities. So I have jump ropes and balls and things, so we can do those kinds of activities and learn that way. And things with children are usually shorter, but I do try to provide food also. So I like to feed people.
I can't imagine. I couldn't have imagined that, you being a nutrition educator. You would like to feed people. But you've obviously mentioned that these workshops are for low income people, but generally eating healthy is more expensive. So how do you guys deal with that aspect of eating healthy?
Right. So it's kind of a misconception that healthy food is more expensive. And when we say healthy food, of course, we could do a whole lesson on what that means. It might mean something different to everyone, but generally, when I talk about healthy food, it's things that aren't very processed. So eating our fruits and vegetables, eating more whole foods as much as you can. Things like that, that's what I consider to be healthy. So we do talk about ways to prepare food in ways that are healthy and low cost. We talk about shopping on a budget, how to save money on the actual shopping part of it. But the reality is that maybe your SNAP benefits are not going to last the whole month. So I also always try to share information on where the local food pantries or access to food is. So if it's a list of food pantries in Kingston or in the Ellenville area, I like to share that information with people and let them know that these are resources in the community where you can go and get food, or sometimes prepared meals if that's something that you need. There are also farmers markets that accept SNAP benefits and have more incentive programs. So you get a little extra coupons every time you use SNAP benefits. And I like to share that information because that's also a really good way to get healthy food and also support our local farmers, because we want to support our local economy as well. The other thing I would always say is, if you are qualifying for free or low priced or free or reduced cost school meals, to take advantage of that, especially now. Right now, school meals are free for every family. So that's something I'm not sure everyone is aware of, that will go through September of 2021. Anyone, regardless of their income, that's in school, in public school, can get free school meals. And so often that might be in school, depending on how your school is operating, but it might also be a remote pickup of meals, or it might be delivery on a school bus. It just depends on how the school district is doing it. So take advantage of those school meals. There's usually breakfast and lunch available, and it's, healthy food to the community. And we should all, and it actually supports the school. So it's a really good way to do that. I know I always refer people to local DSS offices if they think they might be eligible for SNAP or other benefits. So we want people to not only know how to save money and to prepare food, but also where they can get it to supplement, because there are a lot of resources out there, and we want people to use them.
Well, that was actually my next question, is if someone was interested in receiving SNAP benefits, what steps would they take to look into that or to apply for it?
Well, you can always start the application online. So you would go to mybenefits.gov. I think that's the right address. And you can start the application. If you find that overwhelming or you don't have access to the internet, you can go in person to the DSS office, or maybe call the DSS office. In Ulster County, it's only in Kingston, which is definitely tricky for people that live farther afield. There's also DSS offices, in every county. It depends on where you live. The other option is to go through what we call the NOEP coordinator, and that NOEP stands for Nutrition Outreach Education Program. So what their role is in every county is to help people sign up and screen for SNAP benefits. So that's a person that can help kind of hold your hand a little bit more and walk you through that process. They can do home visits. I don't think they're doing them right now, but they do have the ability to do home visits. So you don't have to get yourself from maybe Phoenicia to Kingston to get to that DSS office. So that's a really good place to start also. And I could share that phone number and the email for our Ulster County NOEP person, if anyone's interested. So always start with either DSS or your NOEP coordinator, whoever that is.
Okay. And then aside from these workshops, is there anything else you do for work in the community?
Yeah, SNAP-Ed does a lot of work in the community. And so in addition to doing the nutrition education, we do, other things. We support community change, because the idea is, if you, for example, take a class on healthy eating, and then you walk out of your school building or your place of work, and all you see are vending machines full of soda and candy bars and fast food, then it's going to be really hard for you to make that change, right? I don't expect anyone to take a class on why we should all eat more fruits and vegetables, and then maybe you're hungry at the end of the day and you see some unhealthy food, you're probably going to eat that, right? So we work with communities and organizations to help support changes that will make the environment around us healthier. So an example would be, I'm involved with the Kingston District School Wellness Committee, and we have revised the wellness policy and talked about guidelines that will go down to the school building level to help them implement those policies, and working with food service directors to maybe add more summer meal locations, those kinds of things. So we want to, and it's going to depend on what the community looks like and what the organization wants. But it could be school-based, it could be workplace-based, it could be health clinic-based. So there are lots of ways that there could be a change that supports healthier choices. So if anyone is interested in learning more, especially if you work for an agency and are interested, we could talk more about what that would look like. So I would encourage anyone interested to reach out to me to find out what the opportunities are and what's been done in other cities and other counties.
Well, those are all of my questions. Is there anything you'd like to add to kind of wrap up?
I would add that if anyone is interested in either community change or environmental change, or just, a workshop for, on healthy eating or physical activity, they should certainly reach out to me. And the way they would do that, and this would be for anyone in Columbia, Ulster, or Greene counties, can find us on the CCE website. And my name again is Katie. And we also have a SNAPED website, which is snapedny.org. And on that's for the whole state. So you'll find a calendar of virtual workshops that are going on. There are recipes, there are cooking demo videos, there are tips, there are links to our social media accounts. So that's just a great way to kind of find out more about what we do in the community. Maybe follow us on Facebook or Instagram so you can get updates on recipes and some healthy eating tips. And if you really want to schedule a workshop, just send me a quick email and we could talk about what's available and what it might look like for your agency. You can find my information and a way to get in touch with me in the description of this podcast, or you can just go to our website and, call me, email me, whatever way makes sense for you to get in touch with me would be great.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out the links in the description to learn more about SNAPED or to get in contact with Katie. Come back next time when we'll be learning all about raising chickens in your own home. This is Samantha Ambrosini signing off.